Hey guys, my name is Josh Roof, and today I'm going to be presenting to you this video that I've called Client Bait: 3 Steps to Develop a Killer Portfolio and Start Attracting Deep-Pocketed Clients Immediately. The copywriter's portfolio is by far the #1 thing that you can have for your toolbox. This is your primary bait when it comes to attracting high-end clients that are going to put that money in your pocket. There's other things that are important as well, such as social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, your resume. That's going to be big as well, and we'll go into that in more depth later on. But for right now, we'll focus on the portfolio because that's your #1 tool that you need to implement. All right, so as you can see here, we have 3 steps in this process. The first step is building the blueprint or the framework of your portfolio. Basically what this is, it's just the layout, what you want to put in it and exactly where you want to put it. We'll discuss things like the psychology of color, for instance, as well. The second step is to showcase, to show off your skills and highlight exactly what it is that you do as a copywriter. And lastly, we'll embrace the most important element of your portfolio, which is the proof. This is exactly what your prospects want to see, that your potential clients want to see proof of what you do, a proof of what you're capable of doing. The blueprint. All right, so the first example we have here is from Jay Heffling. He's a freelance web designer and WordPress themes developer. And I know what some of you are thinking right now is, why are we going over a web designer's portfolio when what I need is a copywriting portfolio? And what I'll say is this. Web designers' portfolios are well put together. They're beautiful, is what they are, and that's what a lot of people like to see. And not just a lot of people, your potential clients want to see a portfolio that interests them, that sucks them in and keeps them there, because that's your job as a copywriter. You need to engage your readers, not just engage them, but suck them in, mesmerize them, and basically get them to do what your client wants them to do. So if you look at this portfolio at the bottom here, you see his recent works. And they're highlighted in a very efficient but visually appealing way. This entire website is very aesthetically pleasing, and yeah, this is just a really good overall example of portfolio layout. And yeah, I would definitely recommend looking through professional web designers' portfolios when you're coming up with inspiration for your own as a copywriter, because it's these types of websites that pull in those prospects and really convince them that you're the man for the job or you're the woman for the job. All right, so this is Carol Tice's portfolio. Carol Tice is a freelance writer who's been in the business for over a decade. She's a veteran. I'd really highly advise going to her website, and this isn't her only website, actually her other website, Making a Living Writing, I believe, .com, something like that, they're great resources for any new freelance copywriter. What I'd really like to focus on is the heading here, the navigation bar. She's got home, she's got articles and blogs, copywriting, where I've been, awards, and ebooks. Now the reason why these are so important, we'll start with articles and blogs. The reason why this is so important is because it ranks you high in Google and in Yahoo and in the other search engines. Having fresh content, having a blog is absolutely huge for your portfolio, and I highly advise that. The copywriting section, this is her portfolio where she highlights what she's done, what she's capable of doing, and her skills, basically. She's showing off her work. The where I've been. Now this is very unique, and this is very important. You won't see this on all freelance writers' portfolios. The where I've been section is basically where she tells her story. And the reason why this is so effective is because everyone loves a good story. Everyone. And your prospects, your potential clients, they're the same way. They love stories as well, and they're extremely effective. They always have been. If you're not implementing that into your copywriting toolbox, then you really need to learn how to develop an effective story. The awards here, she has a section completely devoted to the awards that she's earned in the past, and that's a very important part of her portfolio, because it highlights what she's capable of doing. It gives her an added level of credibility that a lot of freelance copywriters just don't have. And then lastly here, she has her ebooks section where she shows off the books that she's written, another way that she boosts her credibility. All right, so unfortunately I've got a little bit long-winded with Tice's portfolio there. We're going to have to skip ahead a little bit. Here we have the rant, and I wish I had spent a little bit more time on this. What I do advise for you to do is go ahead and go to his website. This is John Carlton. He may be the best copywriter that I know of, aside from, the old school ones like Sugarman, for instance. But he is a little bit old school. If you look at this portfolio, you can tell. But it's effective. It's highly effective. And even though I still advise to go with more of a reactive, responsive design, kind of more of a web designer's style of a portfolio site, I still believe that these portfolio sites are extremely effective. And if you go to the rant and you look there, you'll see his consulting section up there in the navigation. And the reason that he's a consultant is because he is an absolute genius at what he does. So make sure you head over to that site and go through this stuff for more information. One thing that I will put out there is that you really need to be reading copywriting portfolios and the sales copy in general of geniuses, copywriting geniuses such as John Carlton or Chris Haddad, one of his proteges. Anyways, here's one of the a little bit more of a racy example of a portfolio site. And the reason why I put this website in here is because even though it is it may be considered offensive, it's disgusting, it's a big fat hairy chest in your face. Nobody wants to see that, right? But it was effective. This portfolio website went viral and got this guy all sorts of work that he never would have gotten without it. So the entire point of putting this in the video here is to tell you that it is okay to make a risk. It is okay to make more than one risk. Every copywriting endeavor is a risk in some way, shape, or form, and you need to be taking them. The bigger the risk, the better, the bigger the return often. And I'm not saying just to go wild with it. Use all things in moderation, right? But do take risks. Be a little bit crazy sometimes, and go with your intuition. And the more you get into the business, the more skin you get in the game, the more you'll be able to instinctively respond to good ideas and take those opportunities. All right, so this is my website. This is my portfolio website. And before we get into the nuts and bolts here, I'd like to say something about opportunity. And for you new copywriters out there, you need to understand, you need to drive this into your skull, that there is no such thing in life except for opportunity. There's no such thing as misfortune. There's no such thing as bad luck. There is only opportunity. And the more you brainwash yourself to understand that principle, the more you'll be able to see opportunities and take advantage of them. So the next time if you're going down your path to copywriting success and you run into a wall, instead of saying, oh crap, that sucks, there's a wall in my way, you say, no, this is an opportunity for me to learn how to climb a wall. So that the next time you run into a wall, you know how to get over it. This is one of the most helpful things that you can possibly do as a new freelance copywriter. And I'll tell you something. If you believe in bad luck, if you're superstitious, if you believe in misfortune, or not even if you believe in all that, if you focus on that, if you let your mind be hampered by negative thoughts, you will not make it in this business. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. Back to my portfolio website. All right, so here on my portfolio website we have, it's my portfolio, and we're not gonna spend too much time here because unfortunately we have a lot of material to cover. Actually, that's a good thing, right? But I would like to stress the importance of visiting this website. I didn't really make a whole lot of money until I implemented this particular portfolio site. So it is a valuable resource. It's www.goldenratiocontent.com. So visit the site, peruse it, and pay special attention to the navigation. You'll want an about us, about me, I should say. Obviously, your portfolio. You want a blog, especially for search engine optimization. And pay attention to where those are laid out, how they're laid out, in sequential order. There's a reason. There's a rhyme and a reason for everything on this portfolio site. The color even. There's a psychological element to the color of blue, and there's other colors that are just as effective that we'll go over later. Okay. So regarding the portfolio platform that you'll want to use. First off, I'd like to say that if you don't have a portfolio site, this is the number one thing that you need to be focusing on right now. WordPress is the best platform by far. That's why I've got that bolded, italicized in that funky font. Cargo's great, Tumblr's great, Behance, or however you pronounce that, it's great. But if you're planning on making this a long-term solution, if this is your career and you're serious about this, trust me, go with WordPress. It's easy to navigate. It's easy to work with, and it is there's all sorts of themes and plugins that you can use to enhance your site. So definitely go with WordPress. I add those other ones in there. I actually don't even really know why. I did now. On the right hand side here we have a few things that I'd like to focus on. Keep your copy simple. Keep it simple, straightforward, straight to the point. Keep it minimalist in a way. If you, I guess what I really want to say here is that if your prospect, your potential client comes to your portfolio site and gets confused in any way by your copy, by your writing, they're going to leave right away. And the reason they're going to do that is because they realize that if you can't communicate to them in a simple and straightforward manner, how are you going to write copy for their readership? All right, second thing here is to be clear. Be clear and concise. It kind of goes hand in hand with the first thing. The grid format, I'd like to re-emphasize the importance of a grid format. And you may not know what that means. Do a quick Google search. I don't really have a whole lot of time to go into the details. If you go to ThemeForest, I believe it's themeforest.com, that's where you can find the best templates for your portfolio site, the best WordPress templates. And one of the categories is grid. So make sure that's grid. Another thing that I should have added here is make sure that it's responsive. Responsive websites are basically, they're those websites, like if you go to my portfolio site, you may be there right now. If you're not, I advise you to go there, check it out, and hover over my portfolio items, any one of my portfolio items, and it'll zoom in, and it's just a bunch of little details like that keep the reader's eye on the page. They keep their focus on the end goal, and the more that you can keep their attention, the better off you'll be. Okay, so showcase it. Showcase your skills. One of the things that I really liked about this, the theme that I use for my portfolio website, which by the way is the Hercules theme. If you want to use the exact same WordPress theme or template, whatever it's called, then go right ahead. It's a great resource for your portfolio. But anyways, going back to showcasing your skills, one of the things that I love about this template is that I can lay out every one of my skills, everything that I want to communicate as my ability to my future clients is laid out in a very aesthetically pleasing manner. So if you go to my portfolio website and you scroll down until you see my skills, each one of them has an icon, a very high quality icon that just adds a little visual appeal on this. Those little things really truly matter, and I can't emphasize that enough. So anyways, yeah, showcasing your skill set. This is definitely one of the most important things that you could possibly do to communicate who you are and what you're able to do for your clients. And so the things that you're going to want to showcase, you're going to want to put up past work. I mean, that's by far the most important thing. But for the freelance copywriters who don't have past work to put up, first off, I will say go to Odesk, go to Elance, work for chump change. It's worth it. You'll get testimonials, you'll get and you'll get your portfolio. What do you call them? Examples and projects that you really need to put on this site to start building credibility. And speaking of credibility, let's talk a little bit about your resume. Now, nobody really likes the idea of a resume, and the reason you probably don't like the resume is because it's boring. You know, that black and white bulleted format that you've used in the past. It is the most mind-numbing thing that you can ever write. So you probably don't ever want to do that again. And the good news is you don't have to. What you want to focus on is what you did, what you do, and what you will do. So the past, present, future. Excuse me. And basically, I'm going to go over a few resumes. And the reason why I'm throwing this in here as well is because your resume is an extension of your portfolio. And beyond that, your LinkedIn profile, this is extremely important. I can't place enough emphasis on this. Your LinkedIn portfolio is also did I call it portfolio? Whatever. Your LinkedIn profile is also an extension of your portfolio. Those three items are extremely important, and one of the reasons why the resume is so important is because a lot of your potential clients that you're pitching to, they want to see your resume. That's a required element in the pitching process. So if you're wanting to write copy for magazines, for online magazines or physical magazines, or if you want to send a pitch to the director of marketing or assistant director of marketing, these are things that are often required. And I'm going to go ahead and go through a few examples of some of the best resumes that I've seen. And again, we're catering to the web design sort of resume. So here's a few examples. And so, we're not going to go into any kind of crazy detail on any one of these resumes, but I strongly advise you to take the time to pause and just look over each one of these resume examples and just glean from the experience that these guys have. And the last resume I'm going to show is my own personal resume, and this resume has it's extremely important, and it might blow your mind a little bit, but it is the most effective resume that I've ever used, and I've gotten the most clients with this one resume. And it's a little weird, it's a little funny. It's funny that this actually works, and here it is. This is me being sold on Amazon. And obviously I'm not really being sold on Amazon. This is something that I put together, and again, I really want to stress how important this resume has been to me. And not quite as important as my portfolio, but put it this way. And this is a very high number, by the way. If you don't know, if you've already pitched a few times here and there, you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll understand why this is an outstanding number. I would say roughly 1 out of every 3 or 4 pitches that I send, I get a new client. And that's using the combination of my portfolio, my pitching abilities, which is something that I'm going to devote an entire series to pitching because it's so important. But the combination of my pitching ability, my portfolio, and this resume, they're what really landed me those high-end 6-figure clients that I'm talking about. And while we're kind of on the subject, what I really like to talk about a little bit here is the combination of those elements. Basically what your resume, your pitching ability, your sales ability, on paper or by email, whatever, your portfolio site and your social media all of those things are pieces in the puzzle that when you put those pieces together, that creates your pillar of credibility. And what I mean by that, basically, just visualize this with me for a second. You visualize a Greco-Roman marble, granite, whatever it is, just a big block of a pillar. And at the top of that pillar, you've got a solid slab of granite, and that's the platform. Now that column, that's your pillar of credibility. And again, all the pieces that go into that pillar are your portfolio, your resume, your social media, your level of online territory. How much territory have you accumulated as an expert in your field? All those pieces continue to grow that pillar of credibility, and the more you see that grow, the more you pursue that, the higher end client, the more income you're going to be able to generate from high income clients. And that platform that I'm talking about, that is your business. That solid slab of granite at the top of that credibility pillar, that's your business. That's the platform that you launch your career off of, your copywriting career. So basically, if your pillar of credibility is shaky, if it's a little bit weak, when you try to launch your business, your copyright career off of that pillar, it's going to crumble. It's going to fail because that foundation isn't solid enough. And so as far as quality copy goes for your portfolio, for your resume, and for your social media as well, that's something that we're going to go into a little bit more later in this video. But as far as quality copy goes, you need to focus, let's look at the left side here, on your content. You need to place special emphasis on your past projects and make them look good. Be positive. Never diss one of your clients. That probably goes without saying, but I want to throw that out there just in case. Be positive. Say, I loved working with this client. It was a great project. I really increased my copywriting skills. This is what I was able to do for him or her or them. Examples. And here's a little bit of a gray area. Some freelance copywriters, when they first start out, they have a hard time. They have a hard time getting clients because they don't have any past projects. They don't have that experience that your prospects really want to see before they hire you. And so what some freelance copywriters do is they will basically write the best clip that they can possibly do, and that's one of your examples. I would say a good number, if you have no projects at all, go ahead and write 5 to 6 quality pieces of copy and throw that up on your portfolio site. And that'll get you started, and that'll get you enough so that when you go to websites like Odesk or Elance, and I highly advise to start out on these sites and for a very, very short period of time. But again, you're going to be able to build up testimonials. You're going to be able to build up your experience as a writer, and you're also building your portfolio. And it's okay to accept jobs that pay you chump change for a little bit, for a short period of time. It's just a season, so that you can build up your credibility and your experience and expand your portfolio so that you can start pulling in high-end clients. On the right-hand side here, we have expression. What are you trying to express to your potential client? And remember, before I said that we'd go into a little bit of depth on the psychology behind color. And there's 2 colors that I will always advise, and there is no better color that I can possibly tell you to go with for your portfolio site. And those are, and you might have guessed this already just by looking at my portfolio site and even looking at this video. The 2 main colors are red and blue. Blue instills trust. And this might sound a little bit crazy at first, but just think about it. Think of all the businesses, the big businesses, the successful ones that utilize these colors. I mean, look at Walmart. Their main color is blue. And why? Because it instills trust. It instills loyalty and trust. And that's exactly what you want from your prospects when they come to your portfolio site. Red is another great color. Red, what it does, it's a little bit hard to explain, but what it does is it incites aggression, and not aggression like, oh, I want to punch you in the face. Aggressive buying behavior is what it triggers subconsciously in the mind of your prospect. So that companies like Target, for instance, use the color red as their primary color because it puts their customers in the buying mood. It puts them in aggressive buying mood. And when clients come to your site, potential clients come to your site, you want them to get into that aggressive hiring mood is what you're looking for. And so and also it glues them to your copy. So you don't want to overdo it, but the red colors really glue their eyes to that copy, and it really sucks them in. It mesmerizes them, and that's exactly what you need to do as a copywriter, and that's exactly what they want to see from you as a copywriter. So those are the top two colors that I would say are effective. There may be others, do a little bit of research, but that's my advice to you on that matter. Now, placement. We're not going to go into too many great details on this, but what I'm talking about when I'm talking about placement is go to my portfolio site, and you know what? Go to any great copywriter's portfolio site. You don't just have to use mine, but look and see how the content is laid out. And I'm talking about sequential order from top to bottom. There's a very clear rhyme and reason for that. We don't have a whole lot of time to go into that, but the last thing I'd like to focus on is you. Because people want to see proof. When they go to your portfolio site, they don't... Put it this way, people are sick of seeing robotic, unemotional, unattached content and copy on the internet, because there's a lot of it. There's a lot of crap out there, and you don't want to put that crap out there. What you want to put on your portfolio site is a highly personal message of who you are. You want to show who you are, and you can use, especially, one of the biggest things is to utilize images, utilize professional photos, video, and also use your social media sites, and make sure that you put those good quality social media links on your portfolio site, because those things do wonders for you and when creating your personal brand. So this is something I really like to emphasize. You need to showcase a tangible, breathing person, which is you. Utilize social media, photos, videos, and your portfolio site. Integrate all those things into your site so that you can basically do your best to come across as a real person, and not just come across as a real person, but flaunt your personality. If you're funny, be funny. If you're quirky, be quirky. If you're offensive, be quirky. But one way or the other, you need to show off your personality, because that is what's going to make that personal connection. If a prospect comes to your website and sees copy that doesn't draw him in and doesn't speak to him or her as a person, then they're going to go away, and they're going to go away quickly, because you need to engage with them as a human reader, as a human audience, as a potential client, because that's exactly who they are. And as far as social media goes, these are the top 4 social media platforms that I really don't think that you should be placing any kind of emphasis on any other social media platforms until you master these 4: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And you know what? Scratch that. Don't worry about any of these other than LinkedIn until you establish yourself fully as a copywriter. Are the other platforms valuable? Yeah, they're extremely valuable. But the reason why you want to focus on LinkedIn is because LinkedIn is an extension of your portfolio, and the very first things that you want to establish early on as a freelance copywriter is you want your portfolio site, you want your resume, and you want your LinkedIn profile. And because all of those things tie in hand in hand, and once you actually put those things together, that's a strong enough pillar of credibility to start pulling in high-end clients. And if you have good pitching abilities and you have those things in place, guess what? That's all you need to really start making a good income. And by the way, that's something I'm going to be going over quite a bit in the future. You guys are going to have access to my pitching series, which is extremely valuable. But anyways, here I have a few pictures of myself, and this isn't an egotistical or narcissist sort of thing. This is an example, because what these are pictures from my social media profiles. And the reason why these are so important is because they communicate my personality. And I know it may seem like I'm beating on a dead horse here, but I just can't stress how important it is to get your personality across to your prospective clients, because the more they see your personality, the more you reveal about yourself, the more comfortable they're going to be in the buying process or the hiring process. So anyways, if you look at these photos, you see my family. Yeah, my dogs and my wife are my family. You see me with a parrot on my shoulder for some odd reason in PetSmart or wherever I am. You see me in Jordan riding a donkey. So there's a lot of things that you can glean from simple pictures. You see that, if you could see my t-shirt, you know that I'm a Chiefs fan. You see that I love dogs. You see that I love animals. You see that I'm a traveler. And you know what, that professional attire that I'm wearing, or semi-professional, that's another element that's good to throw in there as well. I mean, most people go overboard with the professionalism thing. I'll tell you what, people nowadays, especially when they're looking online, they're used to seeing their the people that they want to hire dressed down. They're used to seeing the things that they do, their hobbies that they're involved in, et cetera, et cetera. So it helps. It's no longer bad form to show off your personality, to show what it is that you like to do, what your hobbies are that you'd like to pursue. And on that train of thought, I'd also like to say, emphasize how much you love writing. Enter, I don't know, haiku contests, copywriting contests, all those things, they help. And they help a lot because it establishes your credibility. Video is another thing. And one thing I'll say about video, we'll be brief on this because we're running short on time, but video is even more important than images. And this is something that I really need to implement even more into my strategy. But the reason why video is more effective than simple images is because, and not all the time, but the reason it usually is because it appeals to more than one sense. So instead of just seeing the picture and taking it in visually, you also hear. And so it's appealing to both the visual and the auditory senses. So that's another thing that you can utilize in your copy. One thing that you really want to do is appeal to as many senses as you possibly can, because that really sucks people in. All right, so for a quick recap, on the left-hand side we have content, and one of the things that I'd like to go over in a little bit further detail is titling. Your titles, one of the things that the great Sugarman, one of the greatest copywriters of all time, said was that the entire purpose of a sentence is to get your reader to read the next sentence. And that's very applicable to your title. In fact, more applicable to your title than it is to the rest of your copy, because that's its main purpose, is to grab attention and pull them in. So place a special amount of importance on your titles. And also be concise. We've gone over that enough. Be complete. This is another. This is a big mistake that a lot of new freelance copywriters succumb to. they don't finish their portfolio, so they may not have, I would say the magic number is somewhere between 5 and 8 pieces or examples if you don't have any prior experience. If that's not complete, your credibility platform or your credibility pillar just isn't going to be strong enough, and you try to launch that career off of that, and it's going to crumble. You're going to fail, unfortunately. So make sure that you complete your portfolio with everything that I've gone over. You know, the testimonials. You're going to want prior work, you know, your portfolio, or clips of your work, examples if you don't have any prior actual projects or work. And yeah, just go to my portfolio website, and you can see all of the elements that you need. And it's relatively painless. It truly is. So anyways, emphasis. You really want to place emphasis on your skills, on what you're able to do, on establishing credibility especially. All right, on the right hand side here, as far as visuals go on your portfolio site, again, I'd like to reemphasize that the grid layout is outstanding. The color, you want to use red or blue. Fonts, we didn't really go over fonts, but play it safe with fonts. Don't get too crazy. Look at what all the great copywriters are doing. Joe Sugarman, he's an old school guy, but his fonts they're solid. Carlton, outstanding copywriter. I would advise to definitely check him out. Carol Tice, she's a freelance. She's a freelance, more of a magazine writer, but she does copy as well. And Chris Haddad, he's another one. But anyways, you'll find all these as you do a little bit of research. But pay special attention to what fonts they're using, and for the most part, you'll see that the fonts are that's something that they don't mess around a whole lot with, unless we're talking long sales copy. But we're not here to discuss that really. As far as paper goes, I don't even really know why I have that on there. Paper, the background really. You want a good clean background. So I've always liked a solid white background, because it makes whatever images you use for your portfolio pop out that much more, and whatever other colors that you utilize to subconsciously instill that mood of trust or buying or hiring behavior in your client, it makes it that much more effective. All right, so now before we end this video, there's one thing I'd really like to leave you guys with, and that is it's another mentality thing. As a freelance copywriter, starting off as a freelance copywriter, it can be very hard, and you probably already know that. And I'd like to give you this word of encouragement. You know, you're gonna make it. You're gonna be awesome. You're gonna make a huge amount of money, and I'm talking 6 figures and more than that. And as you see this next screen come up, don't really pay any attention to that. This is I guess a little preview of what we're going into next time, but it's just a rough draft. But anyways, back to what we were talking about. You're gonna make 6 figures, and you're gonna make more than that, because the arena of copywriting is virtually unlimited when it comes to salary. And we'll go into more detail later in further videos, but for now, I'll leave you with this. Keep moving forward. The reason why the shark is the apex predator of the ocean is because it can only physically swim forward. It literally can't swim backward. The same goes for the killer whale. And that's what your mentality needs to be. You can only move forward. There's no such thing as taking 1 step back to go 2 steps forward. You only move forward. All right, that's it for now. Good luck to you guys. I love you, and I'll see you next time.